This broadcast is copywritten by the SAGU Sports Network for the private use of our audience. Any other use of the broadcast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the SAGU Sports Network consent is prohibited.
Hi and welcome to Lumpkin Stadium. You are watching the SAGU Sports Network. I am Adam Ferguson, joined by my partner Tim Robbins. Tim, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, doing great. We thought last week was beautiful. Tonight's even more beautiful here in Waxahachie. Perfect night for football.
You are in for a good one as the East Texas Baptist University Tigers come to Waxahachie to face the SAGU Lions. Tim, good game tonight.
Very good game. A lot of offense potential out on that field. We're going to break it all down for you here in just a moment. Lions coming off of a big win last week against Howard Payne, putting up some nice offensive numbers themselves. One of the best scoring performances we've seen in quite a while from these Lions.
Before we get to that, we have our sideline reporter, Kristen Urban. She's got a feel of the field for us. Kristen, what do you have?
Thanks, Adam. We couldn't have asked for a better evening for football. There is no chance of rain. Temperatures are looking to stay in the 80s, and winds are going to be under 10 miles an hour. The guys are extra fired up tonight, especially after that impressive win over Howard Payne. Last year, the guys lost to East Texas Baptist University, but they're really ready to prove themselves tonight. Now, that's all I have for you down here, Adam. Back to you.
Thank you, Kristen. Beautiful night, Tim. We're going to get right into it here for the keys to the game for SAGU to walk away with a victory. The first being, no secret last week, Ricky Bickham, J.P. Lowry, 3 touchdowns for Bickham, 167 yards for J.P. Lowry to go along with 2 touchdowns. Don't fix what's not broken, Tim.
They really led the charge, especially in the second half. They took over that game and led the Lions to the victory.
The one weak point, possibly last week, if 63 points can have any weak points, 3 turnovers, 1 interception, 2 fumbles, 1 on special teams, which you never want to see. You have to protect the ball against a team like the Tigers.
Absolutely. You cannot afford to have that level of mistakes against a team this good. I'll talk about that here in a moment.
And last but not least, stop the run game. Last season against the Tigers, 400 yards rushing. Last week against Howard Payne, 243 yards. That's going to affect time of possession. That's going to keep your defense on the field, tired legs. You've got to get off the field and stop the run.
400 yards rushing, that's literally a quarter mile worth of rushing. None of that tonight. Breaking down the keys to the game for the East Texas Baptist University. Oh, I'm sorry. First, we have an interview.
Well, we're going to learn about some of the offensive strategies here. Kristen's with Coach Sam Harrell. What do you got for us, Kristen?
Thanks, Adam. Coach Harrell, you're coming off an impressive win over Howard Payne last week, and you're getting ready to take on a tough opponent tonight. Now, how did you prepare your team this week for this game against East Texas Baptist?
Well, you're right in that this week's opponent's much different than last. And Howard Payne was a good team, but not a real strong team yet. They were real young, and East Texas Baptist is right the opposite. They're not a young team, very physical, a veteran team, and really explosive on offense, and their defense is good. So it's going to be a whole different challenge, but our kids have really worked hard this week, and they know it is, and they're looking forward to the challenge.
J.P. Lowry was a standout with 167 yards and averaging 10.4 yards a carry. Now, how did you prepare your offense for this game tonight?
Well, we prepared the same way we did last week, in that, and JP's outstanding. I think some of that had to do with the defense last week as much as anything, and we wore down Howard Payne's defense, and so the rushing game really exploded in the second half. But we hope we can get the running game going again tonight, because that's what keys everything else. So we'll give Big JP another shot at it and look for another big night.
Thanks, Coach Harrell, and good luck tonight. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kristen. There you have it. Coach Harrell orchestrated a beautiful offensive game plan last game. Let's jump over to the other side of the ball here. East Texas Baptist.
Adam.
Give me some of their keys to the game. What do they got to do to win tonight?
Well, first, strike fast and strike off and put this Lions team in a hole early. This was the best D3 football offense in the nation last year. They were number 2 in overall yards and number 1 in offense. This team averaged 50 points a game. So put that Lions team in a hole early, and guess what? That means you can't use Bickham and Lowry like you want to. If you are in that hole, you have to put the ball in the air, and your real ace in the hole of the law office and Bickham and Lowry, as I like to call it, they don't get to be on the field as much. Second key, force 4 punts. That sounds like a weird number, but I believe SAGU only punted twice last week. And when you have an offense that's that good, and here's the little secret about the Tigers. Their defense last year, not that good. Ranked 215th in the nation out of only 244 teams. So that's around a bottom 30 defense with the number 1 offense. Obviously, you play defense a little bit different when you're up 47-0 as they were often. But if they can just force 4 punts, factor in a turnover or 2 as you were talking about, and a couple of, the half ending, kneel down situation, things like that, 4 punts could be all they need to stay ahead of the Lions the whole game. Last, keep up the red zone dominance. Last year, East Texas Baptist scored 47 touchdowns on 57 red zone entrances. That is an astounding 82% touchdown success rate. That really is unbelievable. Usually 65-70 is what you think is good. 82%. 8 out of 10 trips into the red zone, they scored a touchdown. Just keep that up. Start off 2017 right where 2016 ended. Get in that red zone and make sure it counts for 7.
We could be in tune here for a shootout. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Right now, we've got East Texas Baptist head coach Scott Highsmith with our sideline reporter, Kristen Urban. Kristen, what's Coach have to say?
Thanks, Adam. Coach Highsmith, you're looking to finish at the top of the American Southwest Conference. What's it going to take to accomplish that this season?
Well, obviously, mathematically, we're going to have to beat Mary Hardin-Baylor and Hardin-Simmons and people like Sol Ross. And I'm going to leave out somebody that somebody's going to get mad at. But the bottom line is it's going to take a super effort because this is the best Division III conference in the country that we're involved in, the American Southwest Conference. So it's a super effort. Everybody's got to take their game to the next level, and we go from there.
What's it going to take to defeat SAGU tonight?
Oh, it's going to take a maximum effort. I'm so proud of the way they play now, and they've got the thing going, and they've done such a super job in the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm so proud of this university and what they represent and what they represent to the body of Christ, and we're honored to be here.
Thanks for your time, Coach Highsmith. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kristen. Always nice to see the other side of the ball, see what the opposing coach has to say, even though we are here in Waxahachie. Let's take you through a couple of the players whose numbers we're going to be calling a lot tonight. First and foremost, player of the game last week, J.P. Lowry. Tim, take me through what he did last game.
Well, really what he did biggest was taking over the start of the second half, had 7 runs for over 100 yards to start the second half, leading to SAGU to 2 touchdowns to put the Yellow Jackets out of that game. And it really was an amazing performance from Lowry, especially in the second half last week.
And another name that we're not used to calling, a defensive tackle, usually plugging up the hole, but last week, Darnell Martin, 6 tackles last week, which is rare to see from a defensive tackle position.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions did a good job in the trenches. The numbers got lopsided because of a couple of big runs from the Yellow Jackets, but they won up front for the most part.
And 2 record alerts here as we have Matt Leiter 2 sacks away from the all-time SAGU record, and Carl Morgan 1 interception away from the all-time SAGU record. Could we see that tonight, Tim?
I mean, there's going to be a lot of offense, a lot of chances to get sacks. The offense will be on the field a lot tonight, so I don't see why not.
Take us through some of the East Texas Baptist players here to watch.
Well, obviously, you always got to talk about the quarterback for every team, but especially these Tigers. Drew Smith last year averaged 314 passing yards a game, threw 34 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions. That is the kind of ratio you can only dream of. He had an amazing junior year. He's come back for his senior year, ready to lead this Tigers team to even better offensive performance on the defensive side of the ball, because someone has to play defense tonight. You can't just have touchdown after touchdown. Someone has to eventually play defense. Let's talk about cornerback Grant Lafonte. He had 14 passes broken up last year, really just a total ball hawk, as well as 2 interceptions. If he can be that interception guy tonight, break up those passes, really hassle C.J. Collins, that could be a big part of making sure the Tigers stay 1 step ahead. Last, let's talk about one of the big guys up front, offensive lineman Tony Jones. He was named a D3 football preseason All-American, playing there at right guard. And if they can give Drew Smith that time to pass, that time in the pocket, and like we said a minute ago, win those battles up front, win those battles in the trenches to, turn 1-yard gains into 7- and 8-yard gains, that's exactly what you got to do. So Tony Jones, really the whole offensive line. You never really just pick one offensive lineman, the whole offensive line, but Tony Jones leading the way out there.
We have got some interesting, if you're a math fan, we've got some interesting little facts for you here coming up. But before that, we're going to throw it to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching SAGU football here on the SAGU Sports Network.
Have you given any thought to finishing your college degree? Well, did you know every day others like you are discovering the satisfaction of completing their degree online? And they're doing it through SAGU Distance Education. You can forget about the traditional classroom format. Your PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone make any location your classroom on the go. View lectures from real professors, interact with real peers from around the world, and complete assignments at the time most convenient to you. SAGU School of Distance Education. Education anywhere.
Tired of being passed over for that promotion? Well, did you know that getting your MBA can be a great way to supercharge your professional career? Those who graduate from a 2-year MBA program on average earn a starting salary of $90,000. Through SAGU's online MBA, you can earn your degree while still working at your job. And at half the cost of other 2-year MBAs, there's no need to worry about the price. So what's holding you back? Apply today at sagu.edu.
Welcome back to the SAGU Sports Network. Tim, this week, a lot of talk about extra points, 2-point conversions. I couldn't believe my ears, my eyes as to what I was reading this week. Please, clear it up for me, clear it up for our viewers, everything here.
You know, it's a big debate out there. When to go for 2, when to kick an extra point. Should you always go for 2? Well, I got some stats from last year's dominant Tigers offense I want to go over. First of all, they scored 71 touchdowns last year. Absurd. That's an average of over 7 a game. Just downright astounding. They only kicked 36 extra points. Only 36 times they line up and kick it. They went for 2 35 times. Let's talk about their 2-point conversion success rate. Only 18 out of 35. Just a notch over 51%. So you say, oh, that's not very good. That's not very good at all. Guess what? That means they scored 36 points on 35 tries. Just by having a 51% success rate, they scored 1 more point than they could have possibly scored by kicking nothing but extra points. Guess what? They only had an 86% accuracy rating on kicking extra points. So even if they had been perfect, they'd only made 1 more point. They only got 31 points out of their 36 tries. They're living proof of the logic of going for 2 at every chance you get. Obviously, if you tie the game and you're trying to kick the extra point, then you kick the extra point, you don't go for 2. There's situations. But broadly, over a season, if you can just average 50%, not even 51, because you're not guaranteed a 100% success rate on extra points. If you can just average 50% on 2-point conversions, it is worthwhile going for it every time. They went for it literally half the time last year, converted just barely over half the time, and scored 36 points on their 2-point conversion attempts versus just 31 points on their extra points. So if you need more proof of the logic of going for 2, the Tigers have it. They have it. When you have a good offense and an average kicker, go for 2 every chance you get, and I'm sure we'll be seeing them go for 2 tonight.
I got to tell you, I'm really glad that you were the one who was assigned to that story there, because that's a little too much math from my part. Probably not something I should be proud to admit, but hey, I'm glad Tim was involved in that story.
I'm not sure if I'm proud to admit how much I love football math, so it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Some final thoughts here, Tim, before we get to kick off the coin toss national anthem. East Texas Baptist coming here to Waxahachie, their first game of the year. Does that play a factor a little bit into this game?
I mean, you know, we saw some early struggles for both teams last week. There is some element of trying to get your legs underneath you. Every year in college, you've got a new lineup. You've got new players trying to figure it out. Really, this is the Lions' chance to try to maybe take a quick lead. This game got ugly last year for the Lions. This is the game you lost C.J. Collins for the season. So you got a chance at revenge.
Test.
But you really need to be able to get that early jump out over the Tigers. And the fact that the Tigers are might be figuring some things out the first 5 minutes could be the opening you need.
And for your Lions, ride the momentum. 63 points last week. Kind of carry that into this game tonight. Before we go to the coin toss and the national anthem, I want to remind you guys we have every social media you can think of: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can see highlights after the games. Anything you can imagine. You can stay up to the minute on all of your SAGU sports. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow. It's at SAGU Sports Net or at SAGU Sports Network. Tim, it's almost time for football.
Almost time for kickoff. I've been waiting all week for this. After last week, I had a great taste in my mouth after last week's game. 63 points on the board. I'm going on a limb here. We're going to see some points tonight. We're going to see some points tonight.
Absolutely. We're going to throw you live down to the field as we see the coin toss, opening prayer, and national anthem. Don't go anywhere. Tigers versus Lions right here on the SAGU Sports Network.
FCA has taught me how to lead. It's taught me how to be a leader. It's taught me how to present myself and how to live a life full of character both on and off the field.
I can't think of any other scenario where you can see people from such diverse backgrounds able to connect in a way that we can connect at FCA.
FCA teaches you to put Christ and others before yourself.
Welcome to Lumpkin Stadium in Waxahachie, Texas for tonight's contest between the SAGU Lions and the Tigers of East Texas Baptist University. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor God in prayer. Then remain standing and face the flag as we honor our nation with the singing of the national anthem by SAGU student and member of the chapel worship band, Rachel Simons. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for today. Father, we thank you for this time here. Lord, I pray for all the players and officials that you protect them from all injury and all harm. God, I pray that win or lose, they give you the praise and glory for it, because that's what we're called to do. Lord, I pray that your hand of protection extends after this game and our travels back home. We thank you for everything you do, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets recollect the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And there we have it, Tim. We are ready for kickoff. The Lions deferring choosing to start on defense in what we think is going to be a shootout.
A gutsy call. This is a team that put 85 points up on you last year. So to win the coin toss and say, you know what, defense, get out there and prove it's 2017. But it opens up the door for a chance to end the first half strong, get the ball in the second half. I've got 5 stats I'm watching tonight. The Lions are clearly underdogs in this game. We'll just go out there and say it, they're underdogs. But I got 5 stats I'm watching. First, 3 forced turnovers for the Lions. Second, on your first 5 drives, score some variety of points, or at least don't punt. At least don't punt and get field position flipped. Start with a good first 5 drives. Control the clock for 37 minutes with Bickham and Lowry. Have 1 14-point swing, like a big swing in the game at some point that results in 7 points off the board for them and 7 on the board for you. And last, no more than 8 penalties. We didn't really mention it, but they had way too many penalties in the last game. So those are 5 stats I will be keeping track of throughout the game. If the Lions can do 3 of those 5 things, they got a shot tonight.
Talung Hamung, or as the players and coaches affectionately call him, TH, set to kick off. We didn't mention this in pregame. CSFL Special Teams Player of the Week, Talung Hamung, kicks it off, and it is going to be fielded about the 5-yard line and brought out towards the middle of the field. He makes a cut, and he's got a lane. Watch out. Kicker to beat. Hamung lays the wood. Big hit by Talung Hamung on the kickoff.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. He was the Special Teams Player of the Week, with some solid kickoff work and 9 made extra points. But the Tigers, we didn't see that last week. Didn't see anything coming back this far. Takes it out of the end zone into SAGU territory at the 44-yard line. Not the start you'd wanted. It's when you defer.
And how often do you see a kicker square up a returner like that?
Hey, we're saying he was the Special Teams Player of the Week, and now he has a little bit of defense out there. So here comes the Tigers, led by quarterback Drew Smith.
In the shotgun with a man to his right. He takes a snap, high snap, hands it off this time. He has his man Dominic Haggerty. He's going to bowl over a couple Lions defenders for 8 yards.
Haggerty goes right up the middle for 9 yards. Gaping hole created by the offensive line up front there. That was an easy 8 yards.
No huddle being run here. 3 receivers out to his left. He sends his man in motion, takes a snap. He's going to get it out there to his running back in the flat. He's got room to run here. Good block on the outside. He's finally pulled down out of bounds after first down yardage.
Tackle made by number 18 on the play.
Landon Jones, calling his name a lot lately.
He had some big performances last week. First down for the Tigers, though.
Rolling out to his right, he's going to find his man in the flat. He's got his receiver, Richard Johnson, and he is brought down by a host of Lions for another big gain, 8 yards.
8, 9, 8, just right down the field. We're a minute into the game, and the Tigers are in the red zone for the first time. A spot, as we mentioned, they convert around 82% of the time into touchdowns.
Smith in shotgun still with Haggerty to his left. Back to pass, tries to get it to his man out in the flat. A little high that time, and SAGU can finally catch a breather.
A little bit of pressure brought on the backside there by Matt Leiter. Might have forced the ball out a little bit too soon for Drew Smith. And yeah, for the first time, they don't pick up 9 yards on a play, and it brings up a 3rd and 2. Chance for the Lions to try to stop this drive in its tracks.
Smith with Haggerty sends a man in motion. That is Tarek Bogard. He hands it off. Haggerty is stuffed by Matt Leiter on the play. That's going to bring up a 4th down. Matt Leiter and Reed Oaks.
Just bursting right up. You're only coming around the sides. You see right there, wrapping them up, not letting them loose. And it's 4th and 4, and the Tigers won't even think about it. They're going to leave their offense out on the field. Did not have the most electrifying kicking game last year, as we kind of covered in the pregame. So obviously you feel confident that you can pick up 4 yards here, and they are going for it early.
Could be a big stop here for the Lions. Smith takes the snap, fakes the run. He's going to look to throw over towards the end zone, and he's going to find it for the catch for the touchdown, just adjusted to the ball.
It looks like Rashad Scott got totally lost in the end zone. He was running towards, he is blanketed all over the receiver, and he just is going to lose his man. You'll see right here, top of your screen, he is right in front of him and just loses his man. Touchdown is caught by number 6, Jeremiah Drake.
All the time in the world to throw, but look at this. Extra point on.
I am stunned. I am stunned.
The extra point is up, and it is good, and a 7-0 lead on a drive that just took just over Just under 2 minutes, rather.
Just under 2 minutes. Again, they started at the Lions 44 after the big kickoff return. Convert the touchdown on 4th and 4. When you just kind of lose your receiver, you hate that to happen because you were that close. It looked initially like he was blanketed all over him and was going to be able to swat that ball away. Loses track of the receiver. The ball just drifts in from Drew Smith's hands down to Jeremiah Drake for the touchdown pass. Looking at some NAIA scores from around the area. Texas Wesleyan loses to Millsaps College. Langston and Lyon are all knotted up at the half. Hardin-Simmons blows out Texas College 24-0. And Austin College beats Wayland Baptist 34-12. All of those, of course, fellow CSFL teams out there. And Langston and Lyon knotted up at 14.
That's a game there.
That's a conference game. That's surprising. That's surprising to see Langston and Lyon all knotted up at 14 at the half. Lyon College hanging tight with the Langston Lions.
Ryan Travis to kick off for the Tigers after the quick touchdown drive. The Lions look to answer back here. Back to return. Ricky Bickham, Roderick Brown, and Carl Morgan scratch that. It is Malik Golden returning for the Lions. Golden of course, had that fumble on special teams last week. And it's going to be fielded by Morgan. And he's got some blockers in front of him. Gets it out past the 20 and runs into, look, maybe the back of his own man and goes down at about the 22-yard line.
So now the Lions offense will come out onto the field. And we're about to find out if this is going to be a football game or a tennis match where you're just serving back and forth. Can you break the opponent's serve? The Lions need to come out early and establish that they are going to be able to run with these Tigers, because just 2 minutes into this ball game, it is clear that this Tigers offense hasn't missed a beat from what they were doing back in 2016.
CJ Collins in the backfield with JP Lowry to his right. And he's going to hand the ball off in the first play of the game. And Lowry, so good last week, picks up a tough 2 yards on this carry.
Just gets stood up by Ty Parsons in the middle of the field, number 35. Greets him and stands him up. Doesn't allow any more yards. Lions did a good job of yards after the initial contact, not only on the running game, but the receiving game as well. A lot of yards after the catch, a lot of yards after contact. Parsons does a good job of putting any extra yards on that carry up the middle.
2 wide to his right. Collins fakes the run, rolling out to his right. He's going to find his man in the flat. That's Roderick Brown. Had a big game last week. He's going to duck out of bounds just shy of the first down there.
Speaking of yards after catch, some of those catches last week were downright amazing. He's able to duck out of bounds, sets up a 3rd and a long one as CJ Collins was pursued strong on that play by number 3. Barely got the ball off in time.
CJ Johnson for the Tigers, barreling down on Collins. Like you said, 3rd and a long one here. Collins takes a snap. He's going to fake to Lowry, rolling out to his left, across his body, hits the hands of Brown, and he can't bring it in. And the Lions are going to be forced to punt on a 3 and out. Not how you want to start the game on offense.
Not at all, especially since that was a minor problem last week. We saw a couple of drops from the receivers in an otherwise sterling game. That one, you lose a chance to convert on 3rd down. And now in the first 3 minutes and 5 seconds, you've exchanged a touchdown and a 3 and out. Not the way you wanted to start this one at all.
Maverick Montiel back to punt for the Lions. And he's going to go to his right, kind of rugby-style kick, get it down. Lands at about the 38, but takes a good bounce in favor of East Texas Baptist. And they're going to get the ball here in very favorable position at right just about the 40-yard line.
Well, scratch one off my list. I said try to score your first 5 drive. At the very least, don't punt and give up field position. Well, 40-yard line is pretty much nothing for this Tigers offense, so there's one.
East Texas Baptist comes out after scoring in about 1 minute and 50 seconds last drive.
Probably even less than that when you factor in how long the kickoff return
absolutely
was. So it probably was around minute 40. Lions defense had their shot, though, on 4th down.
Smith takes the ball. He's going to go deep on the first play. He's got his man down the sideline, hits him in the hands, and he can't catch it. Richard Johnson, one-on-one coverage with Carl Morgan. Flag on the play, though, in the secondary.
Yeah, we'll see. There seem to be some just bumping on both sides. We'll see if the referees are going to rule that Morgan influenced Johnson a little too much. Nobody's moving on the field. Oh, it's going to be offensive pass interference, I believe.
Pass interference, number 1, offense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, second down.
Interesting call to decline the penalty. I'm not sure if I wouldn't have accepted it and brought up 1st and 20. I mean, I guess you try to take downs off the board, but anytime you can move this Tiger team back.
Smith back to pass after faking the run, going to go down the middle again. Carl Morgan, fantastic play on an island.
All alone, chasing Richard Johnson, staying with that ball, reaching out, deflecting it away to bring up 3rd down. Carl Morgan had a great game last week, and look at this, cutting perfectly, getting a full hand on it, deflecting it away, not allowing a little bounce up, goofy circus catch act there.
Smith takes the high snap, fakes the run, and gets blasted by Matt Leiter. Matt Leiter shooting for one of those 2 sacks he needs to break the record, barreling hard, and we see a punt unit come out, Tim.
Influences the quarterback big time, Matt Leiter, and the SAGU defense, after just getting run over on that first drive, comes out and forces a 3 and out. They do it the hard way with deflected passes, quarterback rushes. Good to see the SAGU defense stand up like that, get the ball back in their offense's hands, just down a single score early on.
Sam Northey back to return the kick for the Lions. He's got to run all the way back. Fields in at about the 15, and he's going to try to make something happen here, but he gets wrapped up. A great open field tackle, and SAGU backed up a little bit here on their own 16.
And that was not the safest punt catch either. He did that over his shoulder. That's fine if you're a wide receiver, not if it's a live ball and you're a punt returner. Northey going a little bit risky there.
Well, he is a receiver, but still, you don't really want to see any player in that position try to make that field on the punt.
It's a tough call, though, because if the ball bounces the 16 and rolls to the 2, you're in even more trouble. So you're having to make that tough call. I think I said this last week. If you trust your hands, do it, and he must trust his hands enough.
Collins with Lowry in the backfield again. 2 to his left. He's going to fake it and go to his left. Got a man in the flat, and he had him open, just overthrew him a bit, and that would have been good enough for 1st down yardage. Looking for his man, Jeremy Carr.
Grant Lafonte was on the coverage. Gabby mentioned in pregame. Has a knack for the ball with 14 passes broken up last week. Didn't have to break that one up, but he was definitely reading in on the play.
2nd and 10 coming up here for the Lions. Lowry, still haven't seen Bickham yet. It was 2 series till we saw him last week. Collins, he's going to take the snap, hand it off to Lowry on the outside. He's got some blocks, tries to make a move, and a good tackle, but Lowry cuts it back to the middle, and he fights his way for 5 yards. Missed tackle that time by
Dylan Bowman. Wrapped him up in the backfield. It's only going to go down as a gain of around 5.5, but a big 5.5 after, again, Dylan Bowman has his right leg for a full 2.5 seconds. It wasn't a brief shoestring tackle. He had it for a full 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds before Lowry fights out of it, sets up a much more manageable 3rd down. What would have been around a 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, just a 3rd and 5 now. J.P. Lowry, such a powerful back.
3rd and 5, Collins takes the snap, rolling out to his left. He's got to get rid of it. And he's just going to chunk it away, cut the losses, and it's going to bring up a 4th down for the Lions. Still have yet to get a 1st down in this game.
Good coverage on the play. Dylan Bowman back there in the secondary after not being able to wrap up Lowry. Stays on his receiver and forces the ball to be thrown away. The snap was a little bit low as well. Kind of delayed the play from the start. C.J. Collins just with nowhere to go. Everybody on that end of the field, where it was essentially triple coverage underneath and double coverage over the top. So the Lions with 2 3 and outs early on.
And the punt almost blocked. He's going to get it out, bounces about the 47, and takes a very favorable SAGU bounce as it goes out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Very good punt from your own territory.
Especially with the pressure he was facing, getting that punt off. And it probably bounced it around the 39, 40-yard line. So you got around 15 yards worth of bounce out of it. Falls to 26.
Maverick Montiel, the rugby-style punter,
Now, this isn't what you wanted to see, though. Your defense back out in the field this quickly after having a big 3-and-out against this great offense to be forced right back out there because you failed to pick up a first down. So I wanted to see points on the first 5 drives, and I haven't seen a first down on the first 2. So that's not going to help your defense out at all.
Heavy formation here for the Tigers. And he's going to new quarterback in for East Texas Baptist. That is number 7 with his first pass of the game, and it's complete down the far sideline. Brian Baca comes in, and his first pass of the game, a huge gain to his receiver.
Xavier Gray. And Xavier Gray, coverage was there, but the ball was just thrown in perfectly from Baca to Gray.
Covered by Xavier Pittman, and they get the ball all the way down to the 13.
Thrown from his own 20. That ball is caught at the 30. That is a 50-yard pass through the air when it was caught. Ryan Baca's got an arm on him as he comes in to replace Drew Smith on this drive.
And he's going to roll out to his right. Looks like he's running all the way. He's got a lot of green in front of him, and he gets walloped by 3 SAGU defenders, but he's going to be down at the 1 and reaching the ball, trying to get it into the end zone. Was Baca. Risky move there, Tim.
Yeah, man, when you already have the first down, but he wanted to get that touchdown, get right down the field. Lions seem to be caught flat-footed right now with the quick quarterback change. It's 1st and goal from inside the 1.
And we see them go under center. They're going to hand it off, and they're going to get the touchdown easily. Pokes his head into the end zone. And ETBU, barring an extra point or maybe a 2-point conversion, we never know, is going to go up by 2 possessions.
3 plays, 74 yards. About 40 seconds off the clock. That was just easy for the Tigers, as they will come out for another extra point to try to go up 14-0. And less than 6 minutes into the game, not the start you were dreaming of for the SAGU Lions.
The extra point is up, and it is good. And East Texas Baptist goes up 14-0 here in the first quarter on 2 of 3 very dominant offensive drives. The Lions have to adjust on both sides of the ball right now, Tim.
Really, and the biggest adjustment has to come on offense because you kind of hung your defense out to dry there. They get off the field with a very good 3-and-out, and you're unable to convert. You're unable to even give them a full 3 or 4 minutes to rest. See the replay here, just powering up the middle. I mean, by the time he got the ball, there wasn't a purple shirt within 2 yards of the goal line. The Tigers' offensive line blasting their way through. Gritty up front play, dominating the goal line. Now SAGU finds himself in a bit of an early hole. Last week it was they were the ones that dropped the Yellow Jackets into the early hole, and now they find themselves in a 14-0 deficit. And it's going to be up to, well, it's going to be up to everybody. Really, the whole offense hasn't really clicked at all yet. The offensive lines has let some defenders through. CJ Collins hasn't been crisp. You've seen drop passes. Only guy I guess you really can't blame so far is JP Lowry.
Fighting for every yard here. We see Ryan Travis to kick it off again. Bickham, Morgan, and Malik Golden back to return for the Lions. It's going to be fielded by Morgan again. And looking for room past the 20. And he's going to get it just shy of the 30, maybe about the 29-yard line. Carl Morgan, a little bit better this time than that first kick return.
Yeah, best starting field position of the night for the Lions. This is as critical a drive as you could probably have with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Just because you already know, you don't need a crystal ball to know what the Tigers are going to do on offense the rest of the game. This is not a stunning 14 points they put up. This is expected. You need to show right now that you're in for this track meet.
Collins, Ricky Bickham enters the game for the Lions. 3 out wide to his right. He's going to go back to pass and just getting it up the middle, and a quick tackle made by the linebacker.
It's Caleb Taylor. And able to, well, I see, what are they going to rule here? They might have ruled that it was incomplete pass. They are going to rule that Caleb Taylor knocked it incomplete. Did not hang on to the ball, so it'll bring up 2nd and 10. Hard hit by Taylor on that play to break up the pass. Even if it hadn't been dropped, it's only going to be about a 2-yard gain.
Still 3 out wide here. Bickham to his right. Collins back to pass again. Deep drop, steps up in the pocket, escapes for a moment, but he's going to get brought down And they're going to say incomplete pass, was not sacked on the play. And that brings up 3rd and 10 here, Tim.
Just barely got that off in time. And that is a small victory right now, as it's Clarence Johnson, C.J. Johnson, coming in with the initial contact. I'm not 100% sure if he got it off in time.
No replay, though.
Either way, it's going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
Not where you want to be if you're the Lions in a 3rd and long situation. And about 10 seconds left on the play clock. They got to get something going here. They might have to burn a timeout, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Collins turns around and calls a timeout. Could not get the play call in.
SAGU, their first time out of the half.
Another score update out there for you in the CSFL. Arizona Christian rolls to a 35-7 win over Bacone. That means Arizona Christian is still undefeated in conference play since they joined the CSFL 3 years ago. They have yet to lose an interconference game. As you see there, Langston defeating Lyon 41-14. So I talked about earlier how crazy that was. He was tied up, didn't stay tied up for long. Texas Wesleyan, Texas College, and Wayland Baptist, all fellow conference teams, they all lose today. Langston and Lyon was a conference game, so Langston and Arizona Christian will be on top of the conference right now with 1 win apiece in conference play. Not a surprise, those are the 2 teams that you can really expect to duke it out. The Lions would love to be one of those teams to challenge those 2, get in that 3rd spot and maybe play spoiler.
Turn some heads if you can upset the Tigers. 3rd and 10 for the Lions, 2 out wide.
Might turn some heads right here if you can pick up a 1st down the way this Tigers defense has looked so far.
Ricky Bickham in the backfield again with Collins. Collins is going to drop back to pass, deep drop. Looking across the middle of the field, diving effort. It's going to be intercepted.
That's Anton Clark with the pick. Looked like the ball got tipped up from the ground by the intended receiver and the defender on him. Anton Clark is the one coming in over the top on this play, as the ball is just going to get bounced up.
And that is an incredible interception. Great awareness.
Pinning it against his left knee.
Like you said, Anton Clark making a great play.
Just never giving up on the ball, rushing in as the ball is tipped up, pinning the ball against his left knee, holding on to it, fighting down to the 32-yard line for the 2nd time the Tigers start in Lions territory.
And Drew Smith back in at quarterback. He's going to hand it off this time, and he runs into a host of SAGU defenders, as that was, again, Dominic Haggerty rushing for a yard and a half, maybe a yard.
SAGU wins a little battle up front. They're going to need to win a lot more if they try to keep the Tigers off the board.
Correction, Jeremiah Robertson running the ball. He's going to get fake 2 this time. He's going to go deep across the middle. Fighting for it is going to be incomplete, overthrown for his man in the end zone, Jaquavian Dabbs. That's going to bring up 3rd and 9. SAGU in good position here again. If they can hold them here, maybe give their offensive chance.
And another situation where the defense is just out there so quick, and they're trying to make a quick stand. Their backs against the wall. 2nd time they've started in their own territory. 3rd and 9 on the board. Chance to try to just stop this onslaught.
4 wide for Smith in the offense. He's going to take the snap back to pass. And he's scrambling to his right. SAGU's got a lot of pressure on him. He's going to get it down the field. And incomplete. Good effort by his receiver on the sidelines to lay out and try to make the catch. That was Deontay Johnson, covered by Carl Morgan, and the Lions are going to force another 4th down here, but we will see. It looks like they're staying on the field.
They're going to stay on the field. Carl Morgan does a great job not losing his receiver, keeping the pressure on there, not making that an easy catch at all. That's a hard job being able to cover for that long. And the Tigers will again go for it on 4th down. They went for it on 4th and 4 earlier and converted for a touchdown. 4th and 9 now, and a chance to get them off the field without points.
Smith 3 wide to his right, fake the run. He's going to have to turn around and run to the left side. He's going to take off for it. He's going to get brought down by, looks like, Landon Jones with the great pursuit.
Great pursuit by Jones all the way across the field. There's a flag on the play, but it is going to be holding. And the Lions will hold after the interception. Will force a turnover on downs and get the ball back.
And realistically, right now,
holding, 28 offense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, the runner did not make the line of gain. First down.
There you see it, the turnover on downs, Tim.
And great pressure up the middle to force the holding by Austin Morrell. You see coming up, just getting grabbed and mauled.
Marco Matthews got held on that play.
Yeah, Marco Matthews brought the pressure that forced the hold, so even if he had picked the first down, it would have been negated. But a great tackle, and now that is the little victory you needed. You get the ball back. You're still just down 14. After that interception, it was like, oh no. Is it going to be 21 on that board already? We're not even halfway through the first quarter. But the defense makes it second really big stand. Time for the offense to pick up a first down.
Collins in the shotgun. He's going to get it across middle, and it's dropped this time by Zach Johnson. Looked like they had a little misdirection and maybe had something going there, but another drop pass.
Yeah, Collins led him a little bit too far. I don't know if he takes a step too far back, then he has to come in, hit some really kind of just in his bicep, so not a very good position. Probably not the most pristine pass, but you got to bring that one in. And it looked like he had some blockers. Might have been able to have some yardage in front of him, but that's our second big drop that we have seen.
Collins still in the shotgun. Bickham, rather. He's rolling out to his left. Looking deep this time, and he's got a man deep, and it's going to be incomplete, but a flag comes out in the secondary. And this could very well be a pass interference. Looking for his man Blaine Rowe down the sideline.
It's Grant Lafonte on the coverage. The officials will meet with the call. The ball wasn't immensely catchable, but he forces him out of bounds. That's the big thing. He forces him out of the playing field.
I was a little surprised to see a flag come out. We'll see the call here, but we do believe it's going to be pass interference.
Well, they're not moving the ball.
Holding, 29 defense. While the ball was in the air against an eligible receiver, 10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And there you have it, the defensive holding on Grant Lafonte.
Interesting call, because holding is typically before the pass is thrown. So since he forced him out of bounds, it's a penalty. But from our vantage point, that is not a catchable ball, as you see here. So that's why it's not pass interference, because it's not a catchable ball. But he was manhandling him way too much. So he gets the holding while the ball was in the air. So interesting call. SAGU gets their first down off of a penalty.
Could this be the break that SAGU needs? Dumps it out to Ricky Bickham. He's going to turn upfield and the change of direction so fast. He gets 6 yards on that catch.
And that's what they have to really start establishing. Lowry in there, Bickham in there. Lowry in there, Bickham in there. They haven't been able to establish that at all because they've been facing second and third and longs. Time to start getting, I think last week we talked about it, they only had 8 third down attempts all game. They scored 9 touchdowns and only had 8 third down attempts because they did such a good job on first and second down. They have not been doing good on first and second down and facing long third downs where they can't utilize their best weapons.
Right. Collins now, Bickham, he's going to get it out to his man, Roderick Brown. He's wrapped up quickly, but he's fighting forward, and it looks like he has enough to gain. Roderick Brown Jr. making up for that drop pass, getting the first down.
Fighting forward while facing backwards. Great job by Roderick Brown to not have to face the third down. Pushing his way.
Backpedal his way past the first down mark.
Blanketed by Dylan Bowman, who's going to meet him right here, and just a little bit of a moonwalk from from Roderick Brown, getting it up to the 46-yard line for the first down.
The SAGU offense finally moving the chains. We have not seen that with over half of the first quarter gone. Collins now still, Bickham in the backfield, going to hand it off, and Bickham tries to jump to the outside, but a great tackle there. Number 35, Ty Parsons. A flag comes in late. We'll see what the call is here. Ricky Bickham looks to be asking for a face mask there towards the end of the tackle.
Personal foul, face mask, 35 the defense. 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Bickham asks, and the referee says, okay. I assume there probably was a face mask. We'll have to look a bit closer on this play. Ty Parsons does a great job wrapping up.
Oh, yep, there it was.
You see right there, yep, grabbed the face mask initially.
So what looked to be a good tackle by Parsons turns into a 15-yard gain, and SAGU moving down the field mostly because of 2 penalties against the defense.
25 yards worth of penalties on this drive. Getting the Lions into Tiger territory for the first time.
Bickham taking the carry again. Good cut. Gets back up the middle of the field. Runs into the referee. He goes down hard there towards the middle.
And they immediately
hope
called
he's
for
okay.
help.
You don't want to see that ever. He looked like his legs got trapped underneath the tackle.
As that play really just, Bickham got there so fast with such a quick cutback. These refs always so good about getting out of the way. One of the most challenging and frightening jobs out there, to be surrounded by a bunch of quick, strong athletes who are out there in pads and helmets, and you're not. And really, when you're dealing with a running back like Bickham, to be able to just make that quick cut and get back there, the official was unable to get out of the way. And not only did he go down with his ankles hard, he appeared to hit his head hard. So we hope everything is okay there, as both training staffs have come out onto the field. Looking at the conference standings now, as we mentioned a moment ago, Arizona Christian and Langston both 1-0 with the only conference games we've played thus far. They're both 2-0 on the season. Meanwhile, SAGU and Oklahoma Panhandle State both briefly remain undefeated as the day wears on.
This is going to be a fun season there towards the top of the CSFL. Couple new teams in there. Texas Wesleyan, one of the new teams. You got Oklahoma Panhandle State in there now. It's looking like it's going to be a fun season. You never know what can happen here.
There's, again, so much else going on now with the two new teams joining, Texas Wesleyan and Oklahoma Panhandle State. Texas Wesleyan loses their first two, but as we know from having played them in basketball and volleyball and soccer over the years, it won't be long before that school is demanding excellence out of their football team.
And you hear the applause from the crowd here at Lumpkin Stadium. Our referee who went down did just sit up, which is a very good sign. Oklahoma Panhandle, they have been a good program here in the past. SAGU is familiar with them. They have played them a couple times in the last couple years, so they're not a new team at all like Texas Wesleyan. And we're going to see our referee stand up on his own power. He is walking around, and it looks like he's going to be okay. Thankfully, that was a nasty fall. Here you see.
It was hard, not only on the legs that you'll see on the replay. First of all, what a great cutback by Bickham. Comes in, gets hit, and just the head slamming. Not what you, when you're wearing a helmet, that's not what you want to see. You see linebackers and running backs and receivers go down like that with a helmet on, as he does walk off the field. Good to see him up and around after that hard hit. So now the refs will have to, for a while at least, perhaps for the rest of the game, officiate a man down. All the more challenging. It's already such a tough game to officiate.
They have not,
without that extra eye out there.
They've not moved the chains yet, as they are now moving the chains after the first down run by Ricky Bickham. The longest run of the day so far here for the Lions. Gets about 11 or 12 on that carry. And the Lions now inside the Tigers territory here, look to maybe put some points on the board. They have to put some points on the board here.
Like I said, this is a time you've got to say, all right, we're in this, we're into this race to 50 type of game, race to 60 maybe. We're in for it, and you got to score to prove that you're in. And your first three drives were not what you wanted to see at all. Your first two drives, rather, that is, definitely. And well, I guess it was three, 2 punts and interception.
Yep.
Not a whole lot to remember from those first two drives, so they kind of blend together. So on your fourth drive, you have a shot now at the 27-yard line to get back in this one.
Collins ready to take the snap here after that injury timeout. And he is going to hand it off to Bickham again, feed the hot hand, and he goes forward for about 4, maybe 5 on that carry. And if it's working right now, like we said in pregame, don't fix it. Bickham is able to get yardage here somehow.
That's what they did last week when the 35-0 lead became 35-20 just before the half, and we were all getting a little bit nervous. They opened the second half with 10 consecutive runs. 7 from Lowry, 3 from Bickham, leads to 2 touchdowns. Lowry went over 100 yards just on those 7 carries combined.
Incredible.
So when it's working for you, stay with it.
Collins now on 2nd and 6 after the 4-yard run by Bickham. Takes a snap and hands it off again. Bickham runs into the arms that time of the linebacker for East Texas Baptist.
Garrett Gibson, he's getting blocked while he makes that tackle. Strong move to the middle by Gibson as he is being, you see, he's got an offensive lineman on him.
He's got Dane Macklin, the SAGU center, blocking him. into Bickham. Incredible strength there shown by the Tiger linebacker.
Use your left hand to keep the center off you and then bring down the running back. That is an impressive tackle from Gibson. They give you solo tackles for those, but I feel like he deserves a tackle and a half.
Collins now fakes it to Bickham, looking across the middle. He's going to have to roll out now. It looks like he may have enough for the first down as he ducks out of bounds. Very rare to see C.J. Collins kind of get on his horse like that and get to the outside.
He saw the corner. He could see the pylon, he could see the yard marker to know exactly where to go. His receivers were blanketed. I think he was trying to dump it off over the middle. We saw that play action dump off a few times last week, but it was not there. So C.J. runs for his life to the 14-yard line. Keeps the drive moving.
Able to use the wheels to get away from Garrett Gibson, who we saw just make that incredible tackle on Ricky Bickham. And they got the ball here now. 1st and 10 from the 14, so they can get a first down here to make it 1st and goal. Oh, Collins fumbles the snap. It looks like he can't dive on it, and they're going to recover it and take it back to just shy of the 30. And that is so deflating for the SAGU offense, Tim.
Absolutely. You were on your way to points. You were on your way to points. It looks like CJ, just hits him in the hand, slips right through. We've seen drop passes, and there's a drop snap. Recovery, I believe, was Brennan Eberhardt.
East Texas Baptist comes out after the SAGU turnover. And this could take the air out of the SAGU defense, who has been, for all intents and purposes, they've been playing pretty well here in this, given the situations they've been in.
50-50. They've had 2 huge stands and 2 quick drives. But, oh, man, it was working for you. It was working for you. That one hurts.
Back to pass. He's going to just slightly move to his left. Had a receiver maybe between 2 defensive backs, and Elijah Pruitt and Matt Williams, but just a little over his head was the throw by Drew Smith.
On the fumble recovery, that might have in fact been Kylan Wright on the fumble recovery. Just want to make that quick correction.
2nd and 10, Smith now with 3 receivers out to his right. He's going to fake the handoff and do a little screen play. And he's got 1 blocker in front of him. Carl Morgan doing a good job of fighting off the block and trying to stop as short as he can for a gain of 5 or maybe 6 on that play.
Most importantly by Carl Morgan there, stayed in front of the receiver the whole time to allow reinforcements to get in there. Carl Morgan wasn't going to make that tackle. It wasn't going to happen, but he had not offered enough obstruction, and it's only a gain of 4, so it brings up a 3rd and 6.
Smith, 3rd and 6 now with a running back to his right. He's going to drop back to pass. We're going to get a dead ball. Looked like the running back went forward a little bit, and they're going to get him for a false start here, Tim.
False start, 1, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
They're going to call it on the receiver for the Tigers, but it also looked like the running back started to lean forward a little bit too on that play.
That tells you they had something up their sleeve. When you see that many guys go forward, there was something about to happen, and I think the Lions are glad they didn't have to see it.
3rd and 11 now for the Tigers. Back to pass. He's looking for his man down deep on the sideline. One-on-one coverage again with Carl Morgan, and he comes out on top.
They are putting Carl Morgan on an island with Richard Johnson right now, and he is stepping up big time. He has had a great game so far, and the SAGU defense forces another 3 and out. So we've seen 5 East ETBU drives so far, 2 just automatic touchdowns, and then the other 3, the SAGU defense has come up huge when the offense needed them. And as much as the air got sucked out of the building on that fumble, there's a little bit of back in now because your defense didn't turn that into points.
That's got to feel pretty good if you're the Lions. We're going to get a flag here. They did run into the kicker, and we'll see if this is going to be the 15 variety or the 5-yard variety.
This is about to determine a lot. If it's 5 yards, you may just keep it, keep the punt. If it's 15, the drive is still alive.
Michael Mast ran into the punter.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker. Defense, 15 yards for the previous spot, automatic, 1st down.
Devastating.
Those are not the words you want to hear in that situation. Personal foul, 15 yards, automatic 1st down after a great stop by the Lions defense.
Wow, that is the exact same as a turnover. That is as exact same as an interception or a fumble. When the ball is back in your hands, and they've been bringing that pressure Every punt we've seen this season, they've been bringing it hard, and that time unable to pull up in time, hits the kicker, and it's one of those things that didn't look that bad, but because he hit the plant foot, that's all you need, roughing the kicker.
Handing it off, a huge hole up the middle, gets into the secondary, brought down by Kobe Roach. That is the East Texas Baptist running back, Dominic Haggerty, finds the hole and hits it.
And once he had his gap, he had it. He was gone. Good for the Lions to even catch up, close the trap around him, and not let that get to the end zone.
1st and 10, hands it off to Haggerty again. He's got another hole, bounces off a tackler, misses another one, throws a stiff arm, and fighting for about 17, maybe 20 yards on that play. Haggerty again with another huge run, back to back.
Just some strong stiff arms on that play. Matt Williams is the one to finally bring him down, but he's getting shoved down the whole time.
Pulling out all the stops, and they're going to get 1st and 10. Another good run there. I'm sorry, that was a pass that time by Drew Smith. Gets it down inside the 5, and East Texas Baptist, just like that, after the roughing the kicker penalty. They're looking at points here, Tim, inside at the 3-yard line.
Aiden Estrada forces him out of bounds, but not before the 1st down, 1st and goal. And the SAGU Lions, I believe, will call a timeout.
Extracurriculars going on there after the
prior to the snap. Timeout. SAGU. Their 2nd timeout of the half.
You don't want to see your timeout used. Their 2nd timeout already used there, but they need to do something here to avoid going down 21-0.
Yeah, especially when you already forced a 3 and out. The defense is gassed now. They're on their heels. You haven't been able to find consistent answers up the middle to be able to slow down this offense. So we have a live look in here. Between Oklahoma Panhandle State and Tarleton State. OPSU tied up with Tarleton 7-7 right now as we get a live look in to that game. It almost looks like our game. We got white jerseys, we got purple jerseys.
What are we looking at here?
I was a little confused at first. I was like, I don't recognize this replay.
Surely they do not have the ball on the 25-yard line. I thought they were on the 3. Just under 2.5 minutes left here to play in the 1st quarter. The Tigers marching inside the 5 on the 3 to be exact. 1st and goal, motion here towards Smith. And Smith is going to hand it off to Haggerty, and Haggerty fights his way down to
the line
of scrimmage. I thought maybe he got to the 2, but it looks like he just netted no yards there. And as his helmet comes off, he may have to come off the field for a play. He does.
That's a little bit of a win for the Lions on 2 ways there. You stop them, and you get them off the field for at least 1 play. Although I imagine you have to stop him for 3 more at this point.
The big running back comes in for the Tigers, Jeremiah Robertson, and he hands it off to him, and he plows his way down to the, you're going to say he crossed the plane. I thought maybe on the half-inch line, but Robertson finds his way into the end zone, and that's going to put East Texas Baptist up 20-0 as they bring out the extra point team. Tim, all that math you did in pregame this past week, it looks like it's thrown out the window here.
They apparently changed in preseason. In preseason, they decided, you know what, extra points are great. I've got the math to prove it's not. I proved you right, Coach. I don't know why you have to go kicking all these extra points now, making me look dumb.
Ryan Travis out to kick again, looking to go 3 for 3 on extra points for the day. Snap is good, kick is up, and it is good as the Tigers go up 21-0 here in the 1st quarter. That drive right there, Tim, devastating.
I'm scratching another one off my list. I was asking the Lions to get 1 14-point swing. They just had a 14-point swing the opposite way. As you see the replay there, that was close. That was close. I'm not sure if that ball crosses the plane before he gets in.
There you see it.
Before he goes down, as he's leaning, elbow. He's down at the inch line.
I thought I saw him go down at the half-inch line, but he looks like he did, but they're going to call a touchdown anyway, as there's no replay here in the CSFL.
But yeah, I was asking the Lions to get 1 14-point swing. Well, you're about to go down and score a touchdown, you fumble, you're about to force a 3 and out, you rough the kicker, and that leads to a touchdown. That is what I call a 14-point swing. So I asked the Lions, there were 5 things they need to do. 2 they have now failed on. I said they have to do 3 to have any chance to win this game. There are 3 left, and we might be running out of ground on some of those already. One of them was control the clock for 37 minutes. That doesn't look very promising at the moment, as the Lions are in a 21-0 hole with just under 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and a first quarter that has taken 45 minutes to play thus far.
Carl Morgan's going to field at about the 14-yard line, looking for some room. Hits the hole, tries to bounce it to the outside. He's going to be down at the, they're going to call it the 30-yard line. Decent field position here for the Lions.
This is where you dial up exactly what the Yellow Jackets did to you last week. When you had them, it seemed like the game was over, up 35-0. They rallied back for 20 points to end the first half to at least make it look like, wow, we got something going on here. You were able to take over and win in the second half, but you got to channel some of that right now. You got to get that 0 off the scoreboard. Just psychologically get it off. If you committed 2 turnovers on offense here in the first quarter.
Collins back in the shotgun. He's got JP Lowry rather to his right. He's going to go deep down the middle. He's got Jeremy Carr and bounces off the helmet. Carr can't come down with it. Almost a circus catch by Jeremy Carr as it flies off the helmet.
That would have been a nominee for catch of the year in week 2, as he stayed with it the whole way. Oh, what a perfect throw.
Just
from
a little short because it goes off the, right off the top of the head of the defensive back for the Tigers. That was Dylan Bowman.
And look at, Dylan Bowman gets on him, forces, really kind of is able to impact the incompletion there for Carr, as Carr was probably going to make that catch if Bowman doesn't react so quickly and get back on him. So Dylan Bowman, he had to break that pass up twice, and the Lions miss a huge chance.
2nd and 10, Collins fakes the run, back to pass, steps up in the pocket. He's got to get rid of it, and he's got his man down the middle. Overthrows him just a tad. Had Zach Johnson running the post pattern, just could not find him.
A flag in the backfield. C.J. Collins was getting up at the end of that one. We'll see what the call is.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Contact with the head, number 98 defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's Quaylon Beckley, and not only was it contact with the head, it probably came a little bit late as CJ gets the ball off on this play.
Good protection by the line, forming a pocket for Collins.
And we don't see the hit, but seeing as when he let go of the ball and where Quaylon Beckley was, that was probably contact to the head as well as late. So the Lions pick up another 15 off a penalty and avoid a 3rd and long.
The penalties against the Tigers are keeping the Lions alive. 1st and 10, Collins takes a snap. Pump fake to his left, running now to his right. Has a man, falls down just shy of the first down. Looks like he's got Roderick Brown Jr. again. And it's about going to be 2nd and inches, as he was just shy of the first down marker.
And CJ had to go through his full list of progressions there. First guy wasn't open, second guy wasn't open. Finally finds Roderick Brown underneath. That, I don't know if that's supposed to be a fake or if he was thinking about it. Looked like Anton Clark was all over that though, and he had to just dump it off underneath.
2nd and inches, Collins in the shotgun. Lowry to his left. Fakes a handoff. He's got Brown out wide, could not find him, and they're going to have 3rd and short here. Had him open, just a bad throw by Collins.
A little bit of influence on the linebacker blitz, forces that ball out of Collins' hands just a hair too soon. So he's unable to connect with his receiver, Blaine Rowe.
Collins now with 2 to his right, and Lowry in the backfield with him to his right. We'll see if they hand it off. They do hand it off to the big running back. He's got the 1st down yardage and breaks the tackle and gets about 6 or 7 more. JP Lowry getting the 1st down yardage and then some, moving the chains for the Lions.
2nd time he has just fought his way out of an ankle tackle. Picks up 5 or 6 for the 1st down, facing 3rd and inches. It'll move the chains. SAGU standing around like they might, well, they can't run the quarter out. So I thought they might be trying to run the quarter out, but they are unable to do that, so they will line up for the play.
Collins now going to hand it off again to Lowry, bouncing it to the outside. Good block by Devin Petty on the outside. He's going to fight his way forward. Looks like he's got about 8 yards. Bring it up a 2nd and short as we look like we're going to head into the second quarter. SAGU down 21-0. Great run there by Lowry. Good blocking up front. Just followed his blockers.
And SAGU is doing a good job right now of staying patient. Staying patient. It's easy to feel like you need to go in desperation mode this early on, but even though we've been playing football for 50 minutes, we're only done with the first quarter. There's still plenty of time on the clock, but the Lions have to be happy to see the first quarter off the board because you know, as bad as it was, it technically could have been worse. Your defense makes a couple of big stops, especially one on 4th down at your own 30-yard line. But a handful of offensive mistakes, one big special teams mistakes. As we look in at a live look at Evangel in Peru State. Evangel had 14-7.
Big stop there. Looks like Evangel with a sack on 3rd and 17.
I'll tell you who that was, but I don't actually have those rosters in front of me. I'm sorry. I did not game prep for Evangel in Peru State.
But it looks like they just forced a 4th down and a mile after that sack.
Is Peru State from Peru?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so. That'd be a long drive from Springfield, Missouri. Looking back in there is Evangel has Citrus School up there in the 3rd quarter, up 14-7.
4th and again a mile here for Peru State.
It's going to be 2nd and around 3 for the Lions at the 30-yard line. And I think it's safe to say, if you want any hopes of staying in this one, you can't have any dumb mistakes down here like you had on your last drive. You've got to find a way to at least get that 0 off the board. Psychologically, get that 0 off the board.
And it looks like they're going to bring the pressure. Lowry tries to get to the outside. He's going to end up losing about 5 yards after that brilliant 1st down carry.
C.J. Johnson, who got the initial contact. C.J. Johnson has been coming off of that end so fast. He's been bringing pressure onto C.J. Collins, and he's the one that brings down Lowry there. Well, probably not going to get full credit for the tackle, but he's the one that holds him up. Throws him for a loss of 5.
May want to change up the timing a little bit here if you're the Lions. Looked like they jumped that snap rather easily as they brought the pressure. 3rd and 7 now for SAGU. Collins with 2 to his right, stacked. And he's going to fake to Lowry, back to pass. Looking for Jeremy Carr down the middle. Does he have his man? Jeremy Carr with a beautiful catch on a beautiful throw for a SAGU Lions touchdown.
Jeremy Carr covered the whole way. Pristine pass from C.J. Collins. And Carr is able to get off his man just enough, turn around, kind of puts his arms over his head to make a great catch on 3rd and 7. The Lions convert big. You can't ask for a prettier pass from C.J. Collins. And Jeremy Carr turns around, has to go up high for it a little bit, but SAGU is on the board with 14-12 left in the second quarter. TH up and good.
His 10 for 10 on the year.
10th extra point made. And you've got that 0 off the board. You're down 21-7. You're back in it. You're back in it. At least for the moment, you're back in it as you did what you had to do on that drive. Especially so big getting that touchdown after the 5-yard loss on 2nd down. You have something go wrong. Feels like, oh no, here we go again. Do a good job of responding the right way. CJ to Carr, touchdown Lions. Now you really wish you hadn't made some mistakes on that last drive. Could be a very, very different outlook at the moment.
The back shoulder pass is the most difficult pass to defend as a defender.
Oh yeah.
Because you're going one way and all of a sudden the receiver turns across his body.
Dylan Bowman was all over him. Dylan Bowman was all over Carr.
Fantastic coverage. But you got a good chemistry like Carr and Collins have, and he trusts him to go to that back shoulder. Almost impossible to defend as a defensive back.
The only way to defend is pass interference and hope you don't get called.
And you don't want to do that in the end zone essentially. TH here to kick off as he did such a good job last week. We'll see what he does here. Not really any wind for him today, and he's just going to pooch it. They're going to field it at about the 25-yard line. And a great tackle by the special teams coverage. Eric Berry with the tackle for the Lions.
Eric Berry looking a little bit like his NFL namesake right there.
Looking a little like Eric Berry with that tackle.
Coming down the field fast. And so you do the little pooch kick down to the 25 and only give up around 3 or 4 yards on the return. And after the big return to start the game, that's not a bad idea. Just keep, you know, no big plays on special teams. Just kind of be safe right there. And who knows, maybe that bounces your way sometime. So the Tigers take back over for the first time after being scored on.
1st and 10, Drew Smith. Takes a snap, hands it off up the middle.
And it's actually Brian Baca back in.
Baca's back in.
So the Lions go 2 drives with running back, 2 drives with the other. And so far the Tigers have been doing kind of the same thing with Brian Baca coming in.
Delonzo Freeman on the carry. He's going to give it to him, or play fake, had his man across the middle, wide open. Was Jaquavion Dabbs and just dropped it, bringing up a 3rd and 4 here for the Tigers.
Dabbs has his hands on it, maybe just a little bit of coverage. Unable to get his hand back up there in time. 3rd and 5.
Sends his man in motion, empty backfield. Dabbs, almost a big hit by Matt Williams, but staying on his feet is the receiver. It looked to be Cameron Goodlett that time. Able to absorb the contact from Matt Williams, who was looking to lay the wood.
He was laying the wood, but it looked like Dabbs was the lumberjack there. It didn't matter. He just glanced that off like it was nothing.
Baca back to pass again, finds his man again twice in a row to his receiver, Cameron Goodlett. And that's going to be a gain of about 4.
Totally different strategy with Baca in the game this time. The first time he comes out and is bombing it deep. This time it's nothing but quick underneath passes, trying to beat the Lions with their speed underneath.
Baca again, batted down at the line. They're going to say incomplete pass. Is that very clearly looked like his hand was going forward. I thought maybe he was batted down, but
incomplete pass. The quarterback's arm was going forward.
His arm was going forward, and the ball just kind of slipped out. That's a tough one right there for the Lions. They thought they had recovered a fumble.
And they did recover it. That is the Lions' ball.
We don't see the throw on that play. And that ball never goes forward. That ball comes out the back of his hand. That ball never goes forward. That's a fumble, just like C.J. Collins' fumble last week.
Baca takes off and is brought down by Matt Leiter, and then a big hit at the end of the play by Marco Matthews. What he's known for, Matthews, the big hit.
Huge recovery on that. After the call goes against you, what was evidently a fumble as the ball just slips out of his hand, to not give up the 3rd down, then to stand strong and force the punt. Big turnaround by the SAGU defense. You'd obviously rather have the ball at the 50, but at the very least, you didn't let the call impact the drive any further, and you forced the punt.
SAGU's going to have their backs up against the wall here. Barring a block punt, but they don't bring pressure this time, and it's going to get down. Worthy fields it at the 6. Cuts up field, gets it past the 20. Sam Worthy down at the 27. A phenomenal punt return, as they may have had their backs against the wall at the 6-yard line.
And again, making that tough choice when you're at around the 6-yard line. Do you bounce and hope it goes into the end zone, or do you bring it out? He makes the catch, just kind of weaves his way, tiptoes through the sideline, a couple of defenders, gets it out to the 26, 27-yard line.
There you see why the coaches are confident in the freshmen to be back there returning punts. Good decision making on a couple of these returns.
We'll see the replay again here, and yeah, if you ever need to know how much of a fumble it is, just, yeah, he loses.
Empty hand, yep.
I don't even think we can call tuck rule on that. That's an empty hand. Just always look at how fast the quarterback tries to get back on the ball. He was trying to get back on that ball fast, and only afterwards he's like, forward pass.
Collins back to pass on 1st down's got to step up. Looking for a man, has nobody, and he's going to get sacked. And that's what you call a coverage sack. East Texas Baptist not allowing any SAGU receiver to get open, and Collins just had to eat it.
Yeah, Collins gets lost on that play. He keeps turning, and eventually he's facing his own end zone. As the offensive line does a good job of buying him plenty of time, unable to get the full turnaround there, and at that point it was over, loses 10 on 1st down.
2nd and 20 for the Lions. as they have a good punt return, and now their backs are up against a wall here on their own 18. Have to get something here after scoring that first touchdown of the game to Jeremy Carr. Collins hands it off to Lowry. As Bickham tries to make a man miss, gets 9 back off of that first initial loss. 3rd and 11 here for the Lions. Good carry to get some of that yardage back.
At least makes it an achievable 3rd down. And yeah, it's never too hard to find out who's out there. Once they get a hold of the ball, you know it's either Bickham or Lowry. That's Bickham.
And that's Bickham, absolutely.
Throwing his shoulders back and forth, trying to fake out the linebackers at least 3 or 4 times on his way there. 9 yards, good carry, brings up a makeable 3rd and 11 now.
Collins with Bickham to his right, 2 out to his left, 1 to his right, fakes the run. Back to pass, good protections, got to step up, fires it across the middle, and Roderick Brown cannot haul it in. That's going to be a 4th down, and SAGU is going to be forced to punt.
Another 3 and out for the SAGU offense. All set up thanks to the 10-yard sack on the first play of this drive.
Looks like he may have been able to squeeze that ball in there, but Roderick Brown pretty heavily covered there. Just had to get rid of it. And here we see SAGU back on the punt with Maverick Montiel rolling out to his right, and it's going to be a line drive kick. That's going to be a favorable bounce. And SAGU does everything they can to get it past the 50 and inside the 40.
And after another big stand, the defense has to go back out onto the field after a 3 and out. That's been a number of times now that you've had a good defensive series that you don't really thank them for very well. You send them right back out there without much time to get a whole lot of breath.
The Lions defense, who has been playing very, very well this game, doing everything you can ask them to do after the first couple of quick scores, after some unfortunate mishaps on the Lions offense part. As Drew Smith back in the game hands it off and just running into a pile and getting about 2, maybe even 1. They say he just crossed the line of scrimmage. But there is a flag on the play. Be a big break here if this is a holding call against East Texas Baptist.
Personal face mask. 97 the defense. 15 yards to the end of the run and an automatic first.
That's the opposite of a big break.
Keelan Rushing gets called for the face mask, and that's going to be a big 15 yards against this Lions defense. It takes it into their territory.
You see right here, too much going on in there to see what happened.
Drew Smith now 4 wide, 1 running back with him. Back to pass. Looking deep towards the corner. He's got his man, and he's going to be dragged out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Looks like he has his man, Jaquavion Dabbs. This time is able to haul it in on the big play.
And again, a great job of forcing the defender inside, then cutting back outside where there's just no way to cover that. Absolutely no way to cover that.
Smith hands it off to his man, and he's wrapped up quickly. This was Delonzo Freeman. He's going to get dropped for a loss of 2, actually, on this play. The Lions bounce back with a good defensive player of their own.
Good to see them winning some of these up-front battles. Not letting... The Tigers have done a lot on offense, but they haven't been able to consistently win up front. Once they can, if they can start doing that, they've really got this game in control. But you keep doing that, that'll help.
High snap to Smith, and that may have affected the timing a little bit as he looked to have his man across the middle. If he just had another second, that was Deontay Johnson, covered this time by Xavier Pittman, the converted wideout to a cornerback.
And I really do think it did. I think the high snap threw the perfect precision timing of that play off just enough to where the ball was not where it wanted to be at that specific moment. Goes long, and it brings up a 3rd and long.
3rd and 12 to be exact. Smith now back to pass, 3 to his left. He's going over to Carl Morgan's side, and he's going to get a flag. It looked like there was a little bit of contact there. The pass was incomplete, but the Tigers may have caught a break here. And you see Carl Morgan's hands go up as he once again left on an island there with the talented receiver for the Tigers.
A lot of hand checking on both sides right there. We'll see what the call is. They're already marching the ball.
Pass interference. 60 to the defense. Spot foul. Automatic. First down.
And I mean, that's what happens when you get left on an island sometimes. You're going to get called like that. You're going to get called when you get in a little hand checking battle with the receiver. Sometimes it's just not going to go your way. Sets up a 1st and goal on what was an incomplete pass on 3rd and 12.
Smith hands the ball off to Haggerty. And he's going to carry the ball forward. Correction, that was Jeremiah Robertson. Carry the ball forward for about 5 yards. Bringing up a 2nd and 5. 2nd and goal, actually, from the 5. Smith again, quick snap, hands it off to Johnson again. And he's going to get into the end zone rather easily. Just great blocking by that big Tigers offensive line. And again, barring an extra point here, Tim, back up 3 scores.
Those last 2 plays felt like what happens when one too many things has gone wrong. When on the same drive, you have a good stop up front and a 15-yard penalty. Then you force the 3rd down incompletion, have another penalty. Eventually, you just put your hands on your hips and go, oh, goodness, everything's just going wrong. Everything is just going wrong. The Lions had no answer inside the 8-yard line as another extra point is up and good.
Ryan Travis, 4 for 4 on the day on extra points, which we honestly didn't expect to see with their 2-point conversion history.
I really am surprised that they have gone out there and kicked all these extra points. I really am. I was expecting far more activity from the 2-point conversions.
And there you see the Lions Den, the student section of the SAGU Lions, outnumbers here tonight for this Saturday night game.
Trying to get some excitement back in here. Hasn't been a whole lot to cheer for in this one so far.
It felt like things were starting to turn the right way after that Jeremy Carr touchdown. A touchdown of such magnitude, a great play on that touchdown. And then it just kind of snowball effect there.
You got your defensive stop. You got the ball back. It was clicking for you for a moment there. I guess the good news is there's still 9 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. There's still a lot of time left, which also means we have to talk about a lot more things. This game has crawled so far.
An entire 2nd half to play. It's not over by any means. Adjustments will be made, and we'll see the Lions. Frank Tristan makes adjustments as good as anybody, or as well as anybody, and Sam Harrell, the newcomer, we'll see what he does here, possibly here towards the end of the 1st half, into the 2nd half, what adjustments they make. As Carl Morgan's got to field it at about the 11.5-yard line and cut it back up in the middle of the field. It looks to bounce it outside. He's got the speed. He's got it around the edge. He's got a man with him. Gets it out past the 50, but he fumbles it. Picked up, and they're going to blow it dead. Fortunate for the Tigers. Picked up by the SAGU Lion, Matt Clemens, and he may have been gone. They're going to call him down at the 50.
Carl Morgan always looking for that seam. He always hangs on to the ball, drives you crazy almost, like just get ready and run. But he does a great job this time of finding the seam, getting around the corner. And if he could have got one more blocker in front. Smart play to not block in the back there, though.
And that ball looked like it was out before he was down, and Clemens picked it up, and he had some room to run there. Patience being shown by Morgan. If you take that 1 off his back and put a 2, he sort of looks a little bit like Le'Veon Bell.
We see the replay here. Yeah, that's close. That was close where that ball might have been out before he went down or not.
There's room to run there for Clemens. We could have seen a touchdown on that. Collins now sends a man in motion. That is Brown. Fakes to Brown, gives it up to Lowry. A little bit of double play action here. And he's going to get about 4 on the carry. A little bit of movement here. We haven't seen that much on the motion there, Tim.
Yeah, we have not seen a whole lot of pre-snap motion for the Lions at all so far this season. But they bring it on that play, and you're talking about the adjustments being made. Maybe already you're starting to see, as there's still a whole lot of football to play, not only in this game, but in this half. You still have 8.5 minutes left in this half. Plenty of time to try to put together some quick scores and get this game back manageable before halftime.
And SAGU gets the ball at half.
That could be very big, depending on what happens over this next 8 minutes.
Collins hands it off to Lowry. Lowry with a good run. Trying to get upfield, he does. Tiptoes the sideline, has enough for the 1st down, and about 3 more. Needed 5, got about 8. J.P. Lowry, tough run in there, and a good job to stay in bounds.
Does a great job of staying in bounds. as the 40-yard line was the first down marker. Does a good job staying in and picking it up. He would have been 2 or 3 yards short and bring up a do-or-die third down.
Threw 2 stiff arms on one play. He uses that effectively.
He throws a very strong stiff arm.
1st and 10 for the Lions at the 37, and they are moving here. You'd love to come away with a score.
If you could combine Bickham's juke and Lowry's stiff arm, you'd have yourself a running back.
Oh, good play action. Collins looking for Lowry again on the screen, and there is a offensive lineman down for the SAGU Lions. That is Devo McNeil, the converted center, dropped 30 pounds this past summer to play guard. And talking to Collins and a lot of the offensive players, they say McNeil, the offensive line flows through Devo, and you hate to see him go down, one of the leaders, senior leaders on this team.
In that play, it looked like there was just a little bit of confusion after the initial play action. Collins rolled out, perhaps didn't expect the blitzers to react so quickly, rushing in on him.
They were able to suck in the defense on that initial play action, and they looked like they were trying to throw it back for a screen. A good play call, just not executed that well.
Yeah, trying to drop it off into a bubble area where I think he thought Lowry was going to be. Lowry must have got caught up, didn't have time to get there. We look in again at the Evangel Peru State game.
Close one, coming at 8 minutes left.
21-13. Interesting to see a game in the 4th quarter with that few points. We haven't been used to that around here.
And McNeil is able to get up and walk off the field on his own power. That is a good sign if you're a Lions fan. Devo McNeil, again, a senior. He is going to be replaced for the time being by Luke McBride, a freshman for this Lions squad, one of the newcomers.
And he's going to be tested because the Tigers have been bringing strong attacks against CJ all night long. So now a big test coming for the newcomer.
Collins now in the shotgun, 2 out to his left, stacked up. Still has Lowry in the backfield. He's going to hand it off to Lowry. Lowry with a big hole, jumps it forward on 2nd down. Need a 10, got about 17. JP Lowry, keep feeding the beast.
It's just what's working for you right now. It is absolutely working for you. So far, Lowry has not missed a beat from where he was last week.
Great carry on 2nd and long.
Gashes his way down to the 20-yard line. Lions inside the red zone. They've made 2 trips here tonight. One resulted in a turnover. Although I've scratched that, their touchdown was not in the red zone. So this is their 2nd trip. They have yet to score inside the red zone.
1st and 10 from the 20. Collins in the shotgun still. And they're going to get, it looks like the right guard on a false start.
False start, 54, offense. Still 1st down.
Tyler Bruner gets called for the false start.
And at this point, it's just felt like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or sometimes 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Every time they get a little momentum, there's always something to disrupt it. A couple of times they've been able to overcome that disruption, but there's been too many disruptions. You can't keep overcoming them on every drive. And now after a big run, you have a false start, pushed back to the 25-yard line out of the red zone, facing a 1st and 15.
Collins now with 2 to his left, 1 to his right with Lowry in the backfield. 1st and 15 from the 25, bobbles the snap, picks it up, back to throw. Looked like he was trying to run with it, and he's going to get swallowed up big time by the big defensive lineman for East Texas Baptist. That is Keelan Wright.
And that bobble, that play was hopeless from the moment the snap gets dropped. Rushing from every side, and there was, even though CJ barely had any time, in that time there was no receiver open. He had no outlet. So now 2nd and 22. The Lions have lost 12 yards since they got down to the 20-yard line.
Some nimble footwork being showed by the near 300-pounder and Wright, able to bring down Collins. And here he's 2nd and a mile, 22. Collins going to fake the run. Back to pass. He's got time. Has his man down inside the 15. throws a dart to his man, still fighting for some yardage, and they're going to blow it dead. But he finds, and we're going to get a flag here as there's a scuffle after the play, but he found Roderick Brown Jr. on that play, and this is a big penalty here. We see Brown clapping.
Roderick Brown Jr. has been the primary receiving threat all game. He has been hauling these in all night, and just a little bit too much going on afterwards, as I think we had 20 of the 22 players on the field in that scrum by the end.
You hear the SAGU student section chanting, "You can't do that," leads you to believe that is most likely going to be against East Texas Baptist.
Although the officials have gone over to the East Texas Baptist University sideline, so now we will wait on the call. As a punch was clearly thrown there by Keelan Wright.
The big 300-pounder just made that good tackle on Collins.
This could be a disqualification.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, 99. That player has disqualified himself for the remainder of the game.
Keelan Wright, you said it, Tim, threw a punch. That's why the official went to talk to the sideline.
That was a discussion. It's, hey, sorry, your guy's gone. Who's coming in for him? You're filling him in. Because, yeah, Keelan Wright, just a very, very bad decision right there. Just a lot of pushing and shoving going on. You can push and shove all you want. Once you punch a guy, and I'm sorry, they're all wearing helmets. What are you doing punching a guy with a helmet on? That's the dumbest thing you can do. Your hand's sore. Congratulations, you can now go to the locker room and ice it. I'm sorry, I don't stand for that kind of idiocy.
SAGU bringing in their heavy formation. Matt Leiter, the defensive lineman, in the game for the Lions at the H-back position. More of a fullback in this formation. Collins now takes a snap, hands it off to Lowry. Lowry looking for some room up the middle. Is going to get swallowed up quickly after a gain of about 2. That's going to bring up second and goal from the 5, rather. And it's good to see Devo McNeil back in the game.
Looks like Derek Landrum was able to wrap him up around the ankles, but we have seen JP break through a number of those. So you can always credit a guy to wrap him up by the ankles when you know how hard that is, with how hard he churns. And it will bring up second and goal from the 5.
Leiter remains in the game, now goes to the left side. 2 receivers on either side for Collins. Snap is wide, hands it off to Lowry. He's moving those legs, moving the pile down to about the 3-yard line. That's going to bring up third and goal from the 3. And Tim, at this point in the game,
you have 2 downs.
Go for it on fourth down territory.
I knew exactly what was coming. You have 2 downs.
I agree, 100%.
You got 4
100%.
yards, 4.5 minutes left in the half. I mean, you trust your kicker. It's not a matter of not trusting your kicker. You trust your kicker to knock down this field goal without much of a problem. It's an extra point at this point. But 28-10, that's still a 3-score game. You need to get this touchdown back. As the Lions,
we may see them use their last time out here.
There's no way to get their playing in time now, so they're going to let the clock run down. I'm not sure what your strategy might be there, trying to get the clock down to 4:06. It's not like you're running the clock out on the Tigers, because I think 3.5 minutes is enough time for the Tigers to go score a touchdown.
We saw that on the first possession of the game, less than 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. They were able to get down the field and score a touchdown.
Because of some miscommunications early on, and now this one, the Lions are out of timeouts. So conceivably, if you do get the ball back in this half with a minute and a half to play, you know, just looking ahead in the future now, you will not have a timeout to use. I imagine this is to discuss strategy, though. This is a big play coming up right here, and maybe what you're doing is you're calling the second play. So if the first play fails, hurry up, no huddle, try to catch the defense off guard, and run the second play immediately. I would have to imagine if you're burning your third timeout with 4 minutes left, it is because you are drawing up 2 plays.
You're not going to have any time to do anything here to discuss a second play, so I think you're absolutely right. You will see these next 2 plays come back to back. Possibly no looking at the sidelines.
So you see the SAGU drum line and tuba in the house, providing some rhythm for the SAGU offense as they try to get some rhythm
3rd and goal from the 4. We see Leiter come out of the game back to the normal formation. 2 out wide to his left. Lowry in the backfield. Collins takes a snap. He's back to pass. Looks the other way, looking for his man. Had him wrapped up. Looking for Blaine Rowe.
And that's Grant Lafonte, who is on the coverage, comes around and bats that ball down. CJ, perfect wraparound. And we talked about pregame how he led that team with 14 passes broken up last year. And he gets another one right there. And SAGU will opt for the field goal. So we were wrong about drawing up 2 plays there. Coach Tristan will opt for the points.
Talong Hamong on for the field goal. It's up and it is good. The first field goal attempt on the year for TH, and it's good. And he remains perfect on the year. Extra points and field goals.
Yeah, 10 for 10 on extra points, and now 1 for 1 on field goals.
Replacing back-to-back All-American kickers with Talong Hamong.
And I'm going to play a little devil's advocate for Coach Tristan here, putting some points on the board. You've put together this long drive. You've had some penalties aid you. The momentum of getting some points on the board is helpful. That is a good thing to have. Obviously, what you prefer to have is the touchdown that you didn't get, but he opts instead just go ahead and put the points on the board. So understandable decision. We thought that in this situation it might be better to go for the touchdown, as we've got a 2-point conversion attempt coming up right there with Evangel and Peru State. We'll let you know how that goes here in just a minute, as it looks like they've just scored and trying to tie the game up.
Late in the 4th quarter. That is a big 2-point conversion.
And now the Lions defense will come onto the field after their first real breather of the game. That was a long SAGU drive, burned around 5 minutes off the clock, as you got to sit there and wait and get your breath back, get your legs back,
under you, yep.
And a chance to come out. It'd be great if you could make a stop, get the ball back to your offense, and get that back-to-back drive situation where you can close the first half with the ball and start the second half with the ball.
We'll see if they go with a pooch kicker here. It worked last time. They will. It's up in the air, fielded this time up at the 30. He makes one move, and he gets it past the 40, just shy of the 44. And this is incredible field position here for East Texas Baptist.
That was a little bit too short a pooch kick, maybe trying a little bit too hard to get that bounce. Drop it in front of the kick returner and maybe recover essentially what would be a 25, 30-yard onside kick. But instead, by doing it, you don't want to kick it deep because you want to get a big return. Well, guess what? That's the same as a big return. The ball's on the 43-yard line.
Good tackle by Michael Mast, however, on the coverage team.
Drew Smith is in that quarterback on this drive for ETBU.
High snap, hands it off up the middle, has his man. Some good carries on the day so far. That's number 33, Delonzo Freeman, who's run the ball successfully today.
A big cavalry of running backs for the Tigers. We've seen Morrell, we've seen Haggerty. We've seen them all out here so far as they are trying everything.
2nd and 4, fakes the run. And he has his man across the middle, and he's going to win the foot race as the Lions defenders run into each other. Touchdown, Tigers.
Richard Johnson. And here's the thing about that play-action pass. Drew Smith faked to the wrong side. He faked to the wrong side, as you see right here, and still froze the SAGU defenders enough. Throws the perfect slant route, and the SAGU defenders were already around a step behind, and they bump into each other.
The speed after the catch in one motion from Johnson to turn on the Jets to another level and get in the end zone.
So after around a 5-minute drive to get 3 points, the Tigers strike right back. They take 35 seconds to get 7, and it is a 35-10 ball game. As the pooch kick goes awry, gives the Tigers excellent field position, and they capitalize immediately. Really the 3rd time we've seen them do that. Come in and never even have a play. You know, they have so few plays, but none of those plays result in anything negative. And they drop the Lions into a 25-point hole with 3:25 remaining in the half.
It looks like the 2-point conversion attempt was unsuccessful for Peru State. And Evangel's got the ball here under 4 minutes. Up 2.
Exciting football out there.
Throwing the ball, too.
As the Lions have some work ahead of them to make this one be exciting in the 4th quarter.
down by 25. They absolutely, at this point, absolutely have to get down and score a touchdown.
This is your shot for a 14-point swing. You're about to get the ball, and you're about to get it again. Even if you score back-to-back touchdowns, you're still down 11. That shows you how 100% necessary this 14-point swing is to get a touchdown on this drive and get a touchdown on the next one. Theoretically, you get a field goal in there as well, because that'd make it a 2-score game. You need to score twice to get it back to a 2-score game.
Ryan Travis to kick off for the Tigers. And he's going to kick it deep. Carl Morgan backing up to the 4-yard line. Brings it in. We've seen a good return from Morgan already tonight. Cuts it back towards the middle. And he's going to get it just about to the 23-yard line. Not favorable field position here for the Lions.
77 yards ahead of them. They did start the last drive with very good field position. After a great kick return, this one, the seam just never developed. Morgan does a great job of staying on his feet, but that'll end eventually.
We've seen the big playability by the Lions on that touchdown pass to Jeremy Carr to get the Lions on the scoreboard, their first score of the game. You got to think here. You got to throw the ball down the field. No timeouts. 3 minutes on the clock. You got to.
You still have enough time with 3:11 left to mix some runs in.
Especially with Bickham.
Yeah, Bickham might as well be a pass sometimes.
Collins now 2 to his left, stacked. He's going to fake. No, he's going to give the ball off to Bickham, and he's going to run forward, get about 6. Good carry on first down, bring up 2nd and 4.
Like I said, at this point, with 3 minutes left, you still have time to stick to the ground. But unfortunately, you are out of timeouts. Taking a long time to get this play in. It's now been 15 seconds since the play ended. And now 20 seconds since the play ended, they will line up. That is not 20 seconds you needed to burn right there.
Collins in the shotgun, 2 to his right. He's going to fake the run, but he's going to lose the football. And just like that, after the good run by Bickham, and they lose 6 on that bobbled kind of fake exchange. You're faking the handoff. He faked it too hard.
How did it take him 20 seconds to call the drop the ball play? That's a...
So it's going to bring up 3rd and 12 here for the Lions. The last thing you want to do, you don't want to give the ball back.
No, 2 minutes. They still have timeouts, all 3 timeouts. Tigers still have all 3 timeouts. And so now you're going to intentionally run the clock. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. That's what it's been the whole game.
Collins in the shotgun, 3rd and 11. Fakes the run, back to pass, a deep drop, and his pocket collapses quickly.
Intercepted. Oh, well
caught by Roderick Brown.
They're going to rule.
They're going to rule it
a catch.
No, they're going to rule incomplete.
Okay.
4th and 11.
They were very slow on the
I
call.
was with you, Tim. I saw the defensive back break on the ball.
I thought that was intercepted. As sure as I thought anything.
And he did.
It does just bounce through Brown's hands. So now a drive that you needed to score points on quickly goes awry, and you're going to give the ball back to the Tigers
with good field position.
Good field position and more than enough time.
Oh no!
There should not be a flag. He was blocked into the, and he was blocked into the kick returner. Ball at the 47, a minute 27 left, 3 timeouts, and you're in trouble.
Inside Lions territory with, again, a minute 30, 3 timeouts. We've seen them score the last drive on 2 plays.
Yeah, minute 27 with 3 timeouts.
That's an eternity.
That might as, I mean, the clock is not a factor for the Tigers. That's how good this offense is that you look at a minute 27 and say the clock is not a factor. It is simply not a factor. 47 yards, minute 27, 3 timeouts. They just don't want to score too soon.
It's not a factor with no timeouts, and they've got 3.
Yeah.
Smith in the shotgun. Back to pass. And he's going to take off to his right, dump it off to his running back. He's going to bring it in, get it back to the line of scrimmage, then about 2 or 3 more yards after and gets out of bounds. And the clock is going to stop, bringing up a 2nd and 7. We're going to call it 2nd and 8 here for the Tigers. And they're running their offense like the clock's running here. Even though he was out of bounds, they're running a no huddle.
I mean, why would you do anything different? It's what you've been showing all game, and it has been working.
Back to pass. I mean, he has a man wide open, didn't see him. Still has a chance to make the throw. He makes the throw, finds his man rolling to his left, and he's going to run down the sideline. Can he get in the end zone? He can! The Tigers score again here to end the first half with about a minute left. Find his man, Tariq Bogard.
On a broken play. That was an absolutely broken play. The Lions defense just never crashed on Tariq Bogard. He is there the whole time. He is open, he is open, he is open, he's still open.
Just
and then he finally is there. And they're so far behind that by the time they even got to him, just left him alone for way too long. And as we said, that takes 23 seconds. 23 seconds to score.
2 plays again. 2 plays to score a touchdown.
Kick
and the extra point is up and good.
And good. And this is turning into a rout with 1:04 left in the half. Nothing has gone right since the Lions were able to trim the score to 28-10 off of that field goal. It was a 3-play touchdown, I believe, on the last drive, and a 2-play touchdown on this one. 2 and 2 each?
2 and 2 each.
2 and 2 each. So the Lions took 4 plays and punted, and they took 4 plays and scored 2 touchdowns. And it is now a 32-point lead for the Tigers. The Lions have 1:04 left, and I mean, you have no choice but to try something here. You have no choice but to try to get the ball down the field.
It's got to start with a good kick return. If they keep kicking it to Morgan, he's got to make something happen here. Get it to the 45, maybe the 50, and then you have a shot at taking a couple shots to the end zone here. It's got to start here on this kick return. There you saw Evangel in Peru State. Evangel facing a 4th and 1. Peru State can still get the ball back with about 1:50 left to play in that game. We'll see here. They've been kicking it straight down the middle all game long, and they've had plenty of chances to do so. 7 touchdowns so far for East Texas Baptist, and it's the first half.
And we had some good things to say about the defense. The defense has not played a terrible half.
Yeah, I thought maybe his knee had touched the ground. And just like that, the Lions needed a big return, and Morgan had to go down to a knee to field that kick. And the Lions are going to start the drive on the 6-yard line. And essentially, you can't do anything here.
When it rains, it pours. Yep, his knee is touching as he catches it. That is down in college.
He's good to go in the NFL, but since we are in the NAIA, CSFL, that is down. And again, at the 6-yard line.
And the Tigers still have all 3 of their timeouts. So even if you just want to run the clock out, you can't. If the Tigers opt to try to get the ball back, they can absolutely do that. So it's critical that you pick up some yards, get a first down, just to keep the Tigers from getting the ball back with great field position.
And they are going to run the ball with Lowry. Lowry's going to run ahead. He's going to get 7 yards on the first down carry, and that's the kind of carry you needed there. And that's going to keep the timeout in the pocket of Coach Highsmith.
That's exactly what you needed, because it's not worth it for the Tigers to call the timeout knowing that a big play could develop. You're happy with where you are. No need to force the issue. And the Lions will be content to let the clock roll. And the Tigers will be very content to let the clock roll. A game that has at some points resembled what could be a back-and-forth affair has tilted drastically in the Tigers' favor, especially over the last 5 minutes. The clock will stop briefly as they get a first down off of the Lowry carry.
That should it looks like it's going to be the very last play here of the first half. The Lions head into the locker room here, are going to head into the locker room here with a 32-point deficit to overcome here in the second half. They do get the ball back, so they start out on offense to try to come out and maybe make something happen here. Tim, first half, 42 points.
I mean, the whole half started as a disaster the way you couldn't have it start. Big kick return, immediate touchdown, you have a 3 and out. And then the defense makes a stand, the offense gets the ball back, 3 and out. Offense has had turnovers. Offense has yet to consistently be able to put together any sort of momentum to get down the field. And the defense, while occasionally making a few big plays here and there, there's just been too many opportunities. Even if you're batting .500 like they are right now and making stops, there's been far too many chances for the Tigers, and they have converted on 6 of them, and they hold a commanding 42-10 lead.
Kristen Urban is with quarterback C.J. Collins and potentially here head coach Frank Tristan. Kristen, what do you have for us down there?
Thanks, Adam. CJ, what was your game plan going into tonight's game against East Texas Baptist?
Really come out, first half, hit them in the mouth, and outplay them and be faster than they are.
What adjustments, if any, will you be making at the half?
All around everything. Run the ball better, throw the ball better, and bring more intensity.
Thanks, CJ. Good luck. I'm also here with head coach Frank Tristan. Coach Tristan, there were a lot of penalties in the first half. What are you going to do to avoid this in the second?
Well, we need to be more disciplined. The hard thing was they were untimely penalties, so they led to scores on their end, and then when you get down against a good team like this, it's really difficult. So hopefully we can clean that up and just chip away, and you keep swinging the hammer just like last week.
What will you be telling the guys in the locker room?
That same thing is just, you keep working and keep playing, and you don't change the way you play just because of a scoreboard. So we'll see if we're really disciplined or not in the second half.
Thanks for your time, Coach Tristan. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kristen. There you hear 2 key words, one from Coach Tristan, untimely, and the other one from C.J. Collins, everything that they need to fix here in the second half.
That would about cover it. That would about cover it. Just take a big eraser, change everything, and as Coach also said, chip away, chip away, chip away. It has to start quick and happen over 30 minutes.
We'll see how the Lions adjust here, being down 32 points in the second half. Don't go anywhere. Half number 2 coming your way right here on the SAGU Sports Network.